Hey everybody, what's up? I'm Dylan D. Welcome back to the channel, and today I have a very special video for everyone. Something I've never done before. I am going to be building a brand new slime block robot from start to finish on camera, breaking down every step I take in my process. Now, this isn't a block by block tutorial, but more of a guide to explain how and why I do what I do when building slime block robots. And as a bonus, if this video gets 180 likes, I will put a world download in the description of today's build, the flying sky bison from Avatar: The Last Airbender, APPA. Alright, so to start this up, I'm going to start with Appa's face. It's always good to start with something that is very easy to understand what it is. And also, keeping in mind your 12 block push limit. Now, as you can see here, none of these segments on APPA are going to be exceeding a 12 block push. Reason being is because you always want to keep that in mind if you are eventually going to make this into a slime block machine. As you can see here, that's why I come out so far with certain areas but then stay back with others, is just due to that 12 block push limit. But just I'm just really going around smoothing everything out, making that wing kind of look more like fluff, because you know, he is a sky bison. Obviously, you know, trying to get the legs to look right, all 6 of them. I'm also going to go ahead and double that onto this side here. I'm really just more worried about the aesthetic of the overall build and keeping these blocks very, very thin. What I mean by that is just not filling up the entire inside, because now I'm going to come in and start, now that I have a really good shape, I'm going to start with the slimestone part of it. Now, it's the best thing to understand is it is completely okay to break everything down and start over again from scratch. I went through 5 different things, 5 different designs until I was like, hey, let's just do a big piston wall. Because with piston walls, you just break it back down into the least amount of pistons, pushing that whole wall forward, and it's just so much easier to work with. All you're really doing is making sure that there's like terracotta blocks wherever slime blocks could rub into other things. Now, your entire machine is a circuit, so it's always best to keep in mind the flow that your robot has. There's no real big reason to push a lot of things from the back if you can set in a little slime block with a sticky piston and an observer on there to be able to pull the pieces of the machine forward. With APPA here, I actually just pull the legs forward. They're separate. There's 2 separate pieces per leg. So there's a honey block piece and then a slime block piece right next to each other. So one pulls and then the other one pushes, just to give it that big full feel to get all 3 of those toes for APPA. But once that's all doubled up, I'm going to move to the back where I start in trying to put the tail in. And this is, again, is a perfect example of that. It's completely okay to start over again. As you can tell, this tail looks so ugly. Like, it just looks bad. And I can't even figure out how I'm going to try and make it look good. So at this point, I just decide it's better to start over than try and make that look anywhere near decent. And it's a good thing that I did start over, because now, as you can see, I make the tail look really, really well, just like APPA's. Now, with this, again, I still have not tested anything. A lot of the big stuff is going to come in while testing it, but I'm just trying to get an overall feel for how the machine's going to look. Again, keeping all of those 12 block push limits in mind and making sure that no blocks rub up against the back of any observers. That's also something very, very big that I ran into, that I always run into. An idea that I had from the start, though, was to make sure that APPA ran from the cockpit, from his saddle. So what you're seeing here is me putting in the engine so I can actually pilot APPA from his saddle. But yeah, last up was the horns. I know he had ropes, but you know, like a lead on his horns, but I felt that that was just better just to leave that out. Next up, what we want to go ahead and do is throw APPA into a structure block. Any type of machine that you want to do, you want to put it into a structure block if it's small enough, just to save you the time from having to duplicate your world over and over again. And also make another just big section of air in front of your machine, obviously, so you don't have to break all of those blocks when you're flying your machine forward and it doesn't work. You can just load in into the structure block. Now, once you have it saved, I'm going to go ahead and give it the first test ever, and, you know, anticlimactically enough, it's not going to go anywhere. But now what I'm doing is surveying the entire build. I'm seeing what sticky pistons did not pull, and I'm looking at what pistons did not push. And then, of course, making sure that those 12 block push limits are corrected. Now, I'm going to do this a few times. Before I start anywhere, I'm just going to kind of break around, test it, see what's going on. And then once I have a good feel of everything, then I can actually start from where I think needs the most attention. And for this build, it's the tail. With this tail, they had a lot of testing going into it. As you can see here, I'm just going to keep going back and forth, trying to get it to work correctly. Now, I'm trying to keep the overall aesthetic of the tail and the shape the most I can. Now, to do that though, there's gonna be a lot of sacrifices, but eventually I got it, and then I moved on. Obviously, you can see the terracotta blocks in the side there to prevent any slime blocks and honey blocks in the machine from being over those 12 block push limits. And then the legs. I had to actually redesign the legs at this point, just to kind of give it more definition, but at the same time not putting it over so many 12 block push limits. Eventually got that though, but then the struggle of the year was right here, what I'm doing, which is the pushers for all of the side walls of APPA. It took probably like 5 or 6 tries, but as you can see, I finally got it to where APPA was movable. Total build time for APPA was 5 hours, 28 minutes, and 18 seconds. And remember, 180 likes will get the world download in the description for APPA. And there should be a poll popping up on the screen now as well, asking all of my Java Edition subscribers what you all prefer between tutorials or world downloads for hitting like goals. Obviously, I would rather just do what you guys all prefer for hitting those like goals, so definitely do not forget to let me know. Shout out to literally no one special who guessed what I was building over on my Instagram after I posted a subtle hint. Mad congrats to them. And if you aren't already, I encourage you to follow me on Instagram and Twitter for other chances at shoutouts in my videos and to get sneak peeks at what I'm building next before everybody else. As well, if you enjoyed today's video, I encourage you to subscribe. Everyone has been destroying that subscribe button, so as always, of course, thank you all so very, very much, and welcome to the channel. But new video coming soon again. Until that next video, you guys, later late.